Alright, I was going to do a quick video real quick. This is something that I have spent a boatload of money on trying to figure out, is gear. So this is some of the gear that I've got, and I've kind of got it broken into summer and winter. So this is my summer jacket that I wear, and after sliding down the highway 90 feet, I had an older version of this jacket on. I had gloves like this on, and I was wearing that helmet, not this exact one, but that same model. So my right hand got tore up a little bit right here. You can still see a little bit of scar there. My finger got tore up a little bit here. My elbows got a little bit on both arms, and my leg looks way better now than it did, but you can see where I got a little bit of road rash there. And I was wearing boots like this and blue jeans like this. So after that, I had been riding, occasionally with just my hands. I didn't have gloves on. It was hot, didn't want to wear gloves. That put me in the, ATGAT, all the gear all the time. I will always wear the gear. Now, the one thing that I have yet to find that I want is pants. I found a good jacket. I found gloves, all that kind of stuff. But my pants, so far, I have yet to find something that I would really say I like. I got these off of Facebook Marketplace, used. I got those off of Amazon. And so far, I just don't like either one of them. I've tried them, don't like them. They just don't work well for the summer. I can't say enough good about these gloves. I can put a link in the description if somebody wants them. But they're cheap. They're not that expensive. But what I found, and I'd read an article about these sliders here and here. Hang on, I'm going to pause the video. Okay, sorry, I had to go get my other gloves. So these are my summer gloves that I wear. They're a mesh. They breathe very well. You have armor on your knuckles, and you've got armor on your palms. All the ones that I've found, they have this, but it's like a patch of leather, like thicker leather. This is plastic. This has something similar to it here, and it's got that. I'm probably going to replace these and try to find something that has this. What I found in the study that I read, they basically said if you're wearing gloves that are more like this one, if you wreck, what ends up happening is if this is grippy, so this is like a rubber material, it's going to, basically grab and then do this with your wrist. So it's going to snap your wrist. Where this, if it hits the road, it slides. So it'll slide down the road and it keeps you from breaking your wrist. Now, I had been in a car accident. You can see the scar on my wrist there, where this whole wrist right here was shifted over to the right like 1.5 inches. So it got busted up pretty good. They had to put a plate and some screws and some other stuff in there, got it all fixed up. And then I think a year later is when I wrecked, when I hit that deer, and I did something to my wrist. I still haven't gone to the doctor about it, but it functions, it works, it's okay. It was actually not that bad when I originally wrecked, but then after I wrecked, the next week I fell on it and all of my body weight hit it and it made it worse. And then the week after that, I fell on it again, trying to help somebody change a tire. So that seemed to have made it worse. The crazy part is I've been riding my motorcycle. I now have, it's been about a month, and I've got around 2,600 miles on my Transalp is what I put on it in that month. And it seems like my wrist is actually doing better riding the motorcycle. I don't know if it's using it, flexing it, I don't know, but it seems to actually be helping. But either way, these are the gloves that I have found that I really like, just because they're comfortable. You can soak them in water. So I've done that where if it's a hot day, I'll soak these in water. Just take a water bottle and pour over them, or just run them under a sink. And you'd be surprised at how much cooler your hands are. And just that, you've got some pretty good blood flow going to your hands. So that's cooling your hand, cooling your blood, pulling it back into your core and cooling you down. So that makes a pretty big difference there. I've got one of these. It's like this is actually my winter one. So put that with my winter stuff. Those are my winter gloves. But either way, for summer, I've got these gloves, and I think they're $16, and they work really well. The problem is I wear an XL in most gloves. These are XXL. I ordered these for my dad because he's got bigger hands than I do. The XLs that I've been wearing are over there, right over there on the couch. But I ordered these to give him the same gloves, and they are basically the exact same size as my XLs with a little bit longer fingers. I mean, like that much longer. So these have become my spares. I wish they would make those in bigger sizes, because even my hand, I struggle to get these on. They're fine once you get them on, but they're kind of hard to get on initially. But again, for the money, I love these gloves. They're well worth it. This is a mesh jacket. So you can see the mesh. You get a lot of airflow through that jacket. And it's got pockets in it that I store a bunch of stuff in. I've got like those electrolyte energy gummies, some shades, some, just different things like that in there. But that jacket, it's a Built. I forget what it is, but it's Built brand. I think it's the Reaver 2, I think. I ordered the one with yellow, but they sent me the black one. Surprisingly, and this was what I was kind of concerned about and why I ordered the yellow one and why I ordered those pants that are white, is I was thinking, okay, black is going to draw heat. That's why I've got a white helmet, or one of the reasons. The other reasons, I want people to notice me. This reflects at night. But the yellow one, what I was kind of hoping, well, maybe it'll be a little bit cooler. What I found is it don't matter what color you're wearing. As long as you're moving, it's kind of irrelevant. If you are sitting at a stoplight, yeah, that pulls in heat. So that's something to consider. But I used to ride just like this. And what I found is I would get sunburnt on my arms pretty badly, and I was still hot. Where if I'm wearing that, there's a negligible difference. If I'm riding, it's actually cooler. If I'm stopped, it's a little bit warmer, but it's not that much. So it's not like wearing that makes me just abnormally hot. Now, there's some tricks to this, though. What do I do with that shirt? Oh, here it is. So I ordered these shirts. This is a moisture wicking shirt. Of course, it don't have all the stuff on it. But I can put links to this as well. But you can see how porous that shirt is. That's a moisture wicking shirt. I've never had any of these before. I ordered a pack of them on Amazon for like $30. I think there were 4 or 5 shirts in it. And this was a game changer. I will take these shirts and soak them and put them on and go for a ride. And it's just, it's like having air conditioning. It was 94 degrees today. I rode like 150 miles. And with those shirts, you can see I'm wearing one. As long as you soak them down, it is amazing. The problem is you get about 30 minutes. After about 30 minutes, they're pretty much dry and you're back to sort of base. I've always worn cotton shirts. I'm a welder, so you don't wear these and weld because it can melt it into your skin. But if you're riding, this is the ticket. I've stopped wearing cotton shirts unless I'm welding. Now, these are so much cooler in the summer. It just, even when they're dry, even if I'm sitting in my office, that shirt is cooler. So what I'm finding is I can take these shirts, and what I'll do is I'll take two. I'll take one and I'll put it in a Ziploc bag, and I'll fill it full of water, and it's pre-soaked and ready to go. And as I'm riding, I'll swap my shirts out. I'll swap this one, put it in the Ziploc bag, and pour some bottled water in there and let it get nice and soaked. And then I'm wearing the bag, or the shirt that was in the bag. And that helps. But again, you're stopping every 30 minutes. So here's what I've found. So this is like a knockoff Camelback. You know, it's got the little water thing in it. And I think it's a 3-liter deal. It's got one of these in it. So it's a water bladder. You fill it up, and then you can come out of there and you've got everything you need. So the idea that I had was, well, what if I could soak my shirt going down the road? I got one of those siphon pumps. It's like a bulb that you squeeze, but that didn't work. So I think you'd have to add some valves to it. So this is what I found. These are on Amazon, and this one charges USB-C. It is a siphon pump that self-primes. And you just hit that. Oh, shoot. Still had some water in it. But you hit that button, and it siphons out and then pushes, obviously, water out of it. And this is for wine, I think. Both of these are set up for wine for some reason. And essentially, you hit that button, and it pulls about a wine's glass worth of wine from here and out into a wine glass, I guess. So it's set up on a timer, as best I can tell. What I did is I sucked out of, I just hooked a tube up here, hooked another tube up on the outside, and then I just poked holes in that tube. And my intention, and I've actually got another one of these jackets that I got off of Facebook. It's the same mesh material. It's actually same brand and everything. This was $150. The one that I found online, the guy sold me that jacket and the other mesh jacket for $100. So they were $50 a piece. This one was $150, and it's an XL. It's actually a little bit big on me. Those are both larges, and they're, I kind of wish there was a size between this one and that one. The large is not, it works, but it's a little tight. The XL is way too loose. So go figure. But what I was going to do is sew the tubing in to my jacket to where it's kind of hugging your shirt, and have a tube that goes to this with a quick disconnect. So if you put on the water bladder, you fill it full of 3 liters of water, and you could either tie into this or leave this where you can still drink the water, and then have an extra line that pulls out of it. So I could tee into, this, or maybe tee into it up here. So like where it comes out here, I could just, cut this, bring a tee in, and then one goes to the water pump, and then the other goes to me. So 3 liters of water, according to ChatGPT, would give me like 12 hours of riding, where I could just hit that button and it soaks my shirt. Now I've got a neck gaiter that's sort of like this, but it's made out of this same material as the t-shirt. That helps a lot too. So my intention, and forgive my constructing, I'm still adding on to my house. There's the addition going that way. That used to be a window. But what I was thinking is you bring your tube up through here. So sew it in where it's around your collar. So it soaks around your collar. So if you're wearing one of those neck gaiters, it soaks the neck gaiter. And then have it so it could start here, come down through here, come down, make a U-turn through here, and kind of come around here, and then come back around and come through here. And that way you're getting your neck, you're getting the top of your back, and you're getting essentially your chest. And with this one, you hit that button and it does a prescribed amount, which is handy. Plus, it's rechargeable with USB-C. It's basically all self-contained, but it's big and it's bulky, and I don't really like the way this is set up. If I use this, this will go somewhere in the bag, and then I'll have a wire coming from it. I'll figure out a way to, replace this switch with a wire that comes up and down to like here. So you'll have a button that you just press and it activates this. This was my second option. It is actually a little bit cheaper than this one. It has, this actually is not the one that I ordered. The one that I ordered had a wire that was for the USB. It also had an additional wire with a switch, but this one's built in. So you can turn your pump on, turn your pump off, and you have this that goes into a USB power source of some kind. I'm thinking you could have a power bank, one of those little $20 power banks from Walmart. That way, the downside of this one is if the batteries go bad, then the whole thing either needs to be repaired or you replace it for $30 or whatever it is. The problem with that is if I've already modified it for this, then I'm going to have to do all of that work all over again. Where this one is a little more compact, and it's got a wire that comes out of it, so I can literally just cut this wire and modify just the wire if I wanted to. Or I could figure out how to modify that switch. Or, if I did it right, you could literally just mount the switch there, have this mounted somewhere else, and have this going to a power source that could be, in here somewhere. Whatever. You get the idea. I didn't realize that was a pocket. What I'm looking at more than anything is long distance riding. 6 hours plus 5 hours, that kind of thing, riding to see my dad. I'm really not talking about commuting. If I'm just going to ride around the house, I'll just soak my shirt, and it's a lot easier. But that's my summer setup. Here's my helmet that I've got. This is an Amazon helmet with Bluetooth built in. I'm going to replace this. My insurance actually replaced the exact same helmet that I had. The problem is that helmet came off when I hit the deer. So when I stood up after getting my bearings, this helmet was 30 feet that way, and I had slid 30 more feet past my helmet without a helmet on my head. Best I can figure, I know it was strapped, but this has a ratchet mechanism that it ratchets together, and I really liked that compared to the other helmets that I've seen, but these ratchets can fail. So the helmet that I had took a lot of road rash right here, and I think when I hit, it probably saved my life, but it also flipped it off. So it was just the grace of God that I didn't get hurt worse than I did. I'm looking at a HJC Bluetooth helmet that's modular. I want the modular helmet, and I think they're around $270. So I'm going to replace this one with that, and that will become my loaner helmet. The only reason I have that one is the insurance they replaced exactly the helmet I had. So it's got me riding, but I want to replace it sooner rather than later. So again, there's my summer setup with my future water pump thing added. Now my winter stuff is this and this now. Now, this is the first winter I'll have this jacket. It's got a liner. It is waterproof and windproof. I had a leather jacket that made it look like I worked for the YMCA. And my kids said it made me look zesty. So that's what I wore last summer or last winter. But I'm hoping this one will be better. I also, when I got that one, I took the pads out because I didn't like the way it stiffened up the jacket and threw them away like an idiot. So by the time I replaced the pads in that jacket that I don't like, it was cheaper for me to buy the whole jacket with the pads. That's actually, I think it looks better than that one. So, but the real ticket for winter riding is these pants right here. These things are freaking awesome. Where those, don't really like them. These, what I like about these, if you look at these pants, just to give you a comparison, I've got to take my boots off to put these on. Well, I wear work boots. You have laces. It takes me a little bit to take those on and off. These pants have a zipper. It goes all the way to the top on both sides. I can slip in and out of these pants super quickly. They do have armor in the knees and I think the hips, but mostly the knees was what I was worried about the most. But these pants, they're ILM from Amazon. When I was just wearing a jacket like that and blue jeans, if it was 30, as soon as you started moving, you're froze to death. When I put these on, I can ride for hours in the winter at 30 degrees and I'm warm. I never realized how much heat your legs actually wick off of you. But when you wear these pants with a jacket and that helmet, and if it's pretty cold, this isn't the one I use, but I've got one similar to it. I use that. So the only area that would always get cold is my neck, because the jacket I had didn't do too good about sealing off my neck. Now this one might actually do a little better than my other one did, but there is that space between your helmet and your neck. And so I would put one of these on, a jacket like this on, and these pants. And I wear work boots anyway. And these gloves did an okay job, but my Transalp has heated grips. So I'm hoping that will make a difference this summer. I put heated grips on it. So I'm going to try to find some better gloves for the winter. But I am telling you, those pants right there are the cat's meow. What I like about them is I can wear regular jeans, which is what I'd normally wear in the winter anyway. When I get to where I'm going, these are off in no time. 2 minutes. These are out. When I get to my office, I just stow all this stuff in one of my chairs at the office, and when I get ready to leave, they're right back on. I don't have to take my boots off. I don't have to do anything else. Where these replace your pants, these do not. So where I work, I don't want to wear those all day. I don't mind wearing that to where I'm going. So I wish someone would make this style pants exactly like this without the quilting where it's mesh. So make this in a mesh material with knee pads with the side zipper, and man, I would put those on in a heartbeat. That would be awesome, because that would give me the knee protection that I'm looking for. I would prefer that these had knee and shin protection. That's still got to be better than just blue jeans, but that's the one thing that I would say maybe change about these pants. But as far as these were $100, those were 70, those were 50 on Facebook. But man, I'm going to buy another 2 or 3 sets of these. I bought them a little bit large. I think this is an XL, because I want to be able to put them on over my pants. Also, if I work outside a lot, and in the winter, if it's already cold anyway, I'm going to keep some of these around just for working in. I rode my motorcycle to help a buddy of mine, and these have knee pads in them, and I do this a lot where I'm on the ground with my knee. And, you know, it hurts after a while. I'm 43. I'm not in my 20s anymore. It hurts. But with the knee pads, man, if nothing else, these are worth $100 for work pants, for winter work pants. It gives you a built-in knee pad. I think if you wanted to, yeah, there's a pocket. You could take them out if you wanted to. But, man, for working in, for riding your motorcycle in for the winter, this is awesome. Buy these pants. I rode most of the winter on a 250 with no real fairings, with no windshield or any of that. And these pants allowed me to do it. So those pants, those gloves, that jacket, and I'm using the same helmet. I want to find a better helmet for the summer. That works great in the winter. Don't work so good in the summer. Still, it's better than nothing, and I'm not going to do a half helmet. I will do a full helmet. When I wrecked, my other helmet hit in this area, and I saw a statistic that essentially most of your helmet damage is right here. So if you're wearing a half helmet, that's your chin. If you're wearing this, it's the helmet. So this is a Martian motorcycle helmet, and it's got that on the back, which it's annoying. I ordered a black one of these. This is a size large. This one fits my head perfectly, and this is how I normally ride. Shades down, visor up, and I ride like that 99% of the time. If it's raining, I drop the visor. If it's cold, the visor gets shut to keep me warm. But in the summer, this is up, those are open, and that's open, and that helps. You get some airflow through here. I've got a windshield on my Transalp, and I just get kind of a light breeze in my face, which is nice. The Bluetooth on this sucks. The switch to drop your shades is cumbersome. It actually takes a good bit to... Oh, I think I may have been going the wrong way. Yeah, I was. I've got pretty good strength in my hands, but it's a pain. My daughter, here's her helmet, and it's got this thing, real easy. And this is a Sidisi, I don't know how you pronounce that, but I've added Bluetooth to her helmet. This is one of those little Freedcons. I can't see paying $200 for the Cardos and Cenas and all of those. This was $80 for two of these. I've still got another one in the box. This connects right up with my helmet, and from what I've seen, they work okay. This one works better than this one. The first one that I got worked better than this one. The Bluetooth's a little squirrely. It works. For what you pay for the helmet, it's not bad. But to be honest, I should have paid $100 more and bought the HJC. But if anybody can come up with a better helmet, let me know. But I'm thinking a HJC C91. I looked at the I91s, but I can't tell a difference. So, but yeah, that's my summer and winter gear. Summer right now, I'm still rocking blue jeans, but hopefully here shortly that will change. So I've got two of these. To be honest with you, I've put them on and I just didn't like them. I think my knee protection was down here. So that was kind of dumb. But I've not actually worn these to ride yet. I wear that every single day. I ride my motorcycle to work. I ride it to the grocery store. I've got to wear now. All I ever want to do is ride my motorcycle. If I have to take 3 trips to the grocery store and get 3 separate things of groceries, I'd rather ride my motorcycle. I just like it better. But either way, if anybody has any ideas about my water pump thing, what I would have preferred is a rubber bulb that doesn't take any batteries that I could have just squeezed to kind of pull water into my shirt. But I'm going to basically have this for me to drink out of, another one teed off that comes down with a quick connect that will quick connect to my jacket. I found a medical water quick connect thing. It's like $20 for 2 sets of them. So you gotta love Amazon. You know, I would have never known to even look for those, but you know, I just kept looking, and this is what I ended up finding. This one almost works better than this one. I'm going to have to add a battery to this. I'm going to have to, you know, do a little extra stuff, but I think this one is going to allow me to essentially have it in the bag somewhere mounted, maybe even inside where the water line is going in here. So you can see, or yeah, it's coming from there through there. So either way, I'll probably end up modifying this one. What I do like about this one is if I modify it, it's just a wire. I clip this off, do a little bit of fiddling with. And I found some buttons that are momentary buttons. So you just hold them down. And they're surface mount, and they're small. And for this, it would work really well. So I can literally stash a... I can cut this off right here, take that to my power bank, come off of that with my, what do you call it, my switch that goes to here, and then this would be bypassed altogether, and I would end up basically just using a barrel plug for the switch. So the switch would plug in, this would plug in, this supplies power, that supplies power. Your power comes from here, spliced into your switch, and then that would redirect it into here. And then I've just got to get the lines to run into this, and I've already got all that. So Walmart actually had their aquarium section, and everything was like super clearanced. So I bought a bunch of tubing like this and stuff like that. And I tested it. Everything works really well. With this one anyway, it'll pull like half an 8-ounce glass of water every time you hit that button. And it would probably soak your shirt really well just doing one button press. Either way, that's one thing. Another thing I'd considered is running a line that runs into your glove. Not all the way in, but just something that at your wrist is going to squirt water into your glove from your jacket. So it just kind of point out into your glove. And if you did that, then you would soak the glove. And this part is what you want to soak, not necessarily the bottom part. But if you soak this part, then, you know, between that, your neck, and the shirt that I've left somewhere that's under the jacket, that will keep you, it's like having air conditioning in the summer. So with these things, it allows me to ride year-round, just about. I've also got a rain suit, but the nice thing about this setup, that's waterproof and that's waterproof. And I've actually got some footies that'll go on your boots, but my boots are also waterproof. I buy pretty good quality boots. In the summer, I'm not as worried about rain because 99% of the time, rain cools me off. So if I get rained on, and it's 90 degrees outside, thank you. Thank you for the extra water. I'm already actually pumping water into my shirt anyway, so, you know, the more the merrier to some degree. But I do actually have a nice rain suit that I got off of Amazon for like $80. And I've worn it 2 or 3 times in the rain, and it does a phenomenal job. It's also, when I came back from the mountains, I had that jacket, and coming back from my dad's in the mountains, you're, 6,000 feet above where I'm at in elevation. And so when I first left his house at 7 o'clock in the morning, by the time I got an hour away, I was froze absolutely to death. It was 60 degrees on the bike, or, just ambient temperature. It was foggy, so you're getting a lot of water mist. And this is porous, and I was wearing this shirt. So I ended up getting wet and cold. So I think it's like 20 degrees when you're moving that you're dropping the temperature. So if it's 60, it's 40, and it's 40 degrees and I'm wet. I did have a liner that came with this, but I didn't bring it with me. But what I ended up doing is I put the rain jacket over top of this. And by doing that, it just immediately, an hour later, I was lower in elevation, and I had warmed up enough that I took the rain jacket off, put it in my top box, and rolled. So I've spent a lot of money trying to find gear. And to me, that's part of a motorcycle. I see a lot of people riding around just like this. My dad's done it his whole life. I'm not going to be one of those people. I want gear. It took one 90-foot slide down the pavement to show me that it's well worth having the gear. In particular, the elbow pads and these gloves. When I wish I'd have saved the gloves now and not thrown them away, but this knuckle part was completely ground off. Not completely, but it did its job. If that would have been my bare knuckles, good Lord, that would have hurt. And this part, these were ground about halfway off. And the right glove, the pavement caught it here and actually ripped this off, which is why on my right hand, that's where I got a little bit of road rash on my palm there and my finger there. But that saved me. I guarantee you it saved me a trip to the emergency room. It probably saved me 2 weeks of not being able to work because my hands didn't work. The money I spent on these gloves is well worth it. If I'd have had to have spent $200, it would have been well worth it. I'm still on the lookout for better gloves. And I'm going to keep looking, but for what these cost, just buy them. It's well worth it. As long as you've got a hand that'll fit in these gloves are worth their weight in gold, especially if you get into an accident. The other thing that helped me was the pads. You've got shoulder pads, you've got elbow pads. My jacket was tore all to pieces. It destroyed that jacket. And actually that jacket I got off of Facebook for $50. I paid $150 for this one. But, you're talking less than $200 between the gloves and the jacket. And it saved me that much in medical bills. No question asked. And not to mention the pain that it saved me. Buy a better helmet. I will get a better helmet, but I want to ride, so I'm using that one until I get a better one. But, if you're going to ride without gear, just know it's going to hurt. If you ever get into an accident, it's going to hurt. It hurt me with this gear and that helmet because the worst part of it was this right here. That hurt worse than anything. My knees were both beat up too, but this was hurt. This hurt pretty bad. First thing I did, I used hydrogen peroxide for everything. I'm telling you, when I got home, it's healed really, really well because there was no skin from this point to this point. I had no skin on my leg. But I guess the worst of it was right in here, but this was all a big red splotch of flesh. And so first thing I did is I got home, I got my, and this itches, man, that itches. I got this off. My pants were tore all to pieces too. And the first thing I did is sprayed that with hydrogen peroxide. I'm going to be the first to tell you, I screamed like a little girl. That hurt. That was a bad idea. And then I thought, well, what about salt water? So I poured Epsom salt into a bath and I laid down. And oh my Lord, you talk about it. Just nothing you did felt good. And the crazy part is, I don't know why it did it, but as long as I was moving. So if I was walking around like this, it wasn't that bad. But if I stopped, and I guess the blood pooled in that area, oh Lord, it hurt. The only thing I could figure out to kind of help was to take an ace bandage and put compression on it. But at the end of the day, you paid for it. So it's just one of those things where it's painful. And to me, if I would have had those pants on, I think that would have been a pretty big difference. If I would have had these pants on, that would have probably made a big difference. Now, I'm still trying to figure this out. So if anybody has summer riding pants that don't burn you up and that have all the protection, and waterproof would be well, no, I don't really want waterproof for the summer. But if I can find those, that's my missing piece. Summer riding pants. Everything else, I'm happy with what I've got. But either way, if anybody rides a motorcycle and you're near Charlotte, North Carolina, hit me up. Let's go for a ride sometime. And if you are, keep two wheels on the ground. Don't get into an accident. Lord willing, this will be the last gear that I buy, and it will keep me safe, and I'll never have to find out how well it works again. But the chance that I might have to, I'm wearing it every day. And if I have a passenger, my daughter, I bought her the same jacket, the same gloves, the same everything. She's got a better helmet than I do. We're going to make sure that when we're riding, we're as covered as possible. So again, anybody, I'm open for suggestion for pants for riding in the summer. I'm not happy with anything I've found. I would prefer to find something that's just regular blue jeans looking, where I can ride to work and just go to work instead of having to change. Now, I don't mind that in the summer, but that I do. That's me taking off my shoes, taking my pants off, putting new pants on. I don't want to do that. So I would much rather just have, I'll buy 5 pair of pants that are $150 a piece and wear them to work. But either way, spend the money, get the gear. It really isn't that expensive. The money you're saving in gas is going to pay for your gear. So buy the gear. But either way, have a great day. Bye.